Hey guys, welcome to our Thursday AMA. Got a lot to talk about today. Lots going on in the Topaz ecosystem. Lots of fresh things to reveal for you guys, and just a lot of status updates to go over. Hope you guys are all doing great. So let's jump right into it. So firstly, I got 3 big releases coming soon. 2 of them I've already kind of teased and hinted at. One of them is brand new. I'm going to give you guys, we're not going to officially release them today, but I am going to give you guys details on how you can kind of get some pre-release access to 2 of them. And we will be releasing them officially over the next 3 weeks. So like, that means like throwing them on the website and just, making official announcements, building up hype and getting those properly released. But I'll go over all 3 of those later in the AMA and also show you guys how to access 2 of them. So let's jump right into it. So first thing I want to go over is just, basically metrics, how things are looking. Let's catch up on the chat here. Game time. Yes, sir. Let's go Topaz. Great shirt, Aaron. Thanks, man. Yeah, so metrics are looking good. Overall markets haven't been the greatest last little bit. Volume's been down across the board, kind of, if you're comparing versus, other DEXs and just what's going on in the industry. But despite that, our TVL is still looking strong. I know one thing that I've mentioned to some in the community, but I should mention it right on the AMA, is that our TVL is actually looking very strong because our actual V3 TVL, which is the more important of the two, has been steady or just increasing. As I said, like from before we even launched Topaz, that we're going to be doing constant analytics and constant optimizations to kind of get TVL where TVL needs to be most efficient for us and most productive for us. And V2 TVL is really doing like absolutely nothing for us. So we took a lot of the focus away from V2 in terms of voting and bribes. So really like any drop that you've seen in the total TVL has really come from the V2 side. And V3 has been steadily increasing. You can kind of see the breakdown there. Actually, one way to kind of demonstrate this is on DeFi Llama. Let me pull that up real quick. If you look for Topaz, so if we look at Topaz CL, you'll see that our TVL has been very steady. I think they're actually missing a pool or two because what did ours say? Ours is 1.29. So I think, yeah, they're missing some data here for some reason, but yeah, despite the markets dropping, which just naturally brings your TVL down as the assets are worth less, our TVL has not been dropping on V3, which is, the important TVL for us. So that's definitely great news. If we scroll down a little bit and look at our fees, we had our 3rd best day of fees yesterday. And again, that's despite having volume that's not near those levels that we were at back when we were hitting those other high fee levels. So our optimizations are working. We're getting, again, despite the broader market conditions, we're getting great volume and we are generating more fees from that volume. So, overall, that's all that we can really look to do is to bring in as much volume as we can and then to get as much fee generation off of that volume as possible. We've got some great analytics platforms built so that we can really analyze like our pools and opportunities to get involved in new pools that we aren't in yet. And also like how we can most efficiently set up our pools in terms of the dynamic fees, the base fees. Like one thing that I just experimented with a couple of days ago is I said, okay, well, there's some like ultra competitive routes where for us to get volume from aggregators, we need to have a really competitive fee, but then I need to make sure that that's going to get us enough volume to offset the lower fee. So it's kind of like a good example is like BNB USDT. Hey, we got Earn in the house. What's up? How you guys doing? It's like so like some of the like 2 of the really competitive pools where I've done this. Actually, let me just pull up Dextrainer to show you guys. Let's head over to Topaz. If you look at volume, it's actually our 2 highest volume pools that I've done this optimization with. So USDT, USDC. This is one where it's not going to be a huge fee generator for us, but it's one that can generate us a ton of volume and really pump our numbers up. And it can generate us some fees. So at our old fee rate of 0.001, we're getting a little bit of volume, like 2 million a day roughly. But then I realized that if we just drop that fee in half to, sorry for all the zeros, but 0.0005, I figured that based on all the metrics that I analyzed, that's going to put us in a really competitive spot to get a lot more volume. So it's like, really the question is, if we drop the fee in half, are we going to get more than 2x the volume? And I thought that, yes, we would. And it turns out that that has been the case. If you look at, we're on the daily chart here, and I made the change about 3 days ago. So we went from, doing around 1 million of volume a day, then the fee dropped in half, and then we started doing 2.7, 6.4, 6 point something, 7, 7.1. So we've like 6 times our volume on this pool by dropping the fee in half. So I'm looking at like those types of optimizations. Another big one where I did that, I didn't exactly drop it in half because this one has a dynamic fee, so it's a little bit different than just saying, oh, it's dropped in half. But BNB USDT, this one, we were doing around 2 million a day roughly, and I'd say roughly the fee was dropped in half. Again, it's not exact just because of it's a dynamic fee. But if we look at the it's hard to see, but you can see that the volume has picked up since the change was made. This is one that I'll have to keep evaluating. This is basically the way that I'm looking at optimizing fees is that there's a couple of routes that are just like ultra competitive where we can really like increase our numbers and just have a good foothold on volume on those pairs. Stuff like BNB USDT is just like a critical pair where if we try to like squeeze as much fees out of it as we can, we're just going to be non-competitive on the pair. So this is not one that's going to be like, actually this is our biggest like fee earner at the moment, to be honest, but that's just because it does so much volume. But we really can't move this fee up without taking a real big hit on volume. So basically I've identified other areas where we can generate more fees, and I've been tweaking those fees and we'll continue to tweak them. It's something where it's really difficult to analyze just because you can't compare one day to the next because market conditions are different from one day to the next. So it's like there's so many things that you have to take into consideration when you're looking at how effective the fee changes have been or the optimizations. You really got to compare against the competitors to say, okay, well, what's the total volume like today, and how did we do in that volume environment? Well, then you compare against the next day or the next period of time, and you have to look at the overall market conditions to see, because if maybe volume dropped, but maybe just volume dropped across the board, or it had nothing to do with the changes that we made. So there's just a lot to take into consideration there, and the best way to get good data there is you have to give it some time to kind of play out. So we're not making any drastic changes super quick. We're just making minor changes and seeing after some time and some comparisons against the other major pairs or the other major dexes that have similar pairs. We're kind of seeing how we're faring against those, and we continue to tweak and optimize. Let's go. Hey, what's up? We cut the fees in order to get more volume in. What are the possibilities to increase the fees without harming the volume? Yeah, I mean that's something that we've done as well, right? Like so it's a complicated thing, right? For example, if you take a very volatile pair, no matter what, we're going to get ARB volume as the price changes. The thing is that unless it's like insanely volatile, we're not going to get rich off of ARB volume. The way that we get big volume in is we have a competitive route where when people use aggregators, it's going to go through our routes, right? So actually, I can demonstrate this. So I do all of my swaps through Topaz Dex. So we actually have 2 different aggregators that when you swap through Topaz Dex, it's not only looking at Topaz routes, it's also looking at 2 different aggregators, and it's giving you the best output from all of those. It's looking at all 3 of those different route sources, and it's giving you the best output from all of them. So there's really not much reason to use anything other than Topaz Dex to swap. But just to show you kind of what I was just talking about, let's say we wanted to swap, I don't know, let's say we wanted to swap to Solana, let's say. Let's do like a fairly large swap, like let's say 25 BNB, let's say. So by default, this is going to check all the aggregation. And so what's cool is that you're going to see that this is just using the 0x aggregation for this quote. And you can see we're getting 12.5% of the volume directly on BNB to Sol. And we're also getting 4.5% of the volume here in USDT. I just refreshed, but again, so 12.5% we're getting here. We're getting another 5.5% here. We're getting another 3.6% here, another 2.5%. So we were actually getting both legs here. We're getting, so this is like 5% kind of, because we're getting 2.5% on BNB to ETH, and then another 2.5% on ETH to Sol. And the thing is that this is not biased towards Topaz. When you see 0x's routing, this is the same route that anybody would get using 0x on any site. So like that's what like I really love seeing is I love coming to Topaz DEX, throwing in like an example quote or even like a real quote for something that I'm looking to swap, and then seeing Topaz throughout the entire routing table is just, it's amazing. It means that our routes are competitive enough that given all the different routes that somebody could go through, ours are actually the best output of all the different options. I mean, obviously, like PancakeSwap has a big pool here for BNB and Sol, so they're taking a big chunk of that. But and Thena's also taking 12.5%. But outside of those, I mean, like we're actually being aggregated, right? So to go back to the question that was asked is, if we raise fees, it directly impacts the volume, right? So, just bumping our fee up a tiny bit, we're going to get a smaller percentage here, or possibly not even be included whatsoever in this aggregation, right? So our volume is extremely sensitive to fees. So hope that answers your question. So volume is more important than fees at this phase of the project. I mean, they're both important. Fee generation is ultimately what we're going after, right? Like we need to generate fees, and that's how we generate revenue for VE Topaz holders. So they're both extremely important, but I'd say that it's right now, while we're trying to make a name for ourselves and build more credibility in the space and build ourselves in as like one of the top dexes. I mean, we've been number 3 in terms of volume for the last couple of weeks. I'd say like, how do I answer this? I mean, they're both incredibly important, but we can't just jack fees up without killing volume. So it's something where we have to ease our way into earning fees in the right places where we don't give up too much volume to try to get those fees. Like it all comes down to math, really, right? Like it's like if we can double the fee and the volume drops by less than half, then yeah, that's a win overall for fees. But in most cases, that's not what's going to happen. If we double our fee, we're probably just going to not be aggregated at all, and we're going to have our volume drop to 10% of what it's doing right now, right? So the volume is extremely sensitive to the fees, right? So if anything, like of all the experiments that I've done so far, I've actually had better results by dropping the fee as opposed to raising the fee. Like, and I showed you that example, right? So, but like the best example, or like the best test case I've done so far has been USDT USDC, which is a shame because it's not like a huge fee earner for the protocol, just because the fee is so low on this. But the volume definitely more than doubled when I dropped the fee in half, right? So that's like a example of an experiment that worked out really well. So now we got to try those things on a lot of other pools, and obviously we're not going to just blindly. We're not going to blindly just drop fees in half and double fees here and drop fees there. We're doing things based on a lot of metrics, a lot of analytics, a lot of comparisons against competitor pools, what their fee levels are at, how much volume they're getting, where the volume's coming from. There's like so many different metrics that we're looking at before we're making any adjustments. But I will say in general, after having raised fees and lowering fees, generally lowering fees has worked better so far in terms of overall fee generation. Just because like just killing the volume by raising the fee, like it's hasn't worked out great so far in a couple of the ones that I've tried. But again, there are some pairs that are less competitive, right? So like two of the tokens I've identified is Solana and Zcash, where they get pretty good volume. It's not getting volume like BNB USDT, but it's getting pretty good volume, and the competitor pools are not at such an extremely low fee where there is room for us to basically still win aggregation traffic, which is the big volume that we're going to get, and win that volume with a slightly higher fee. Actually, that's a good one to bring up, just because you can see here that with Solana we're still getting a pretty decent chunk of the volume. We're not getting the lion's share of it, but we're getting a decent chunk of it. And this is one where we've actually bumped up the fee quite a bit. If I go back to the stats, and we look at dynamic fees here, you'll see that Solana, so these are like way higher than a lot of our other stuff, right? So like this is almost at 0.1% right now. The base fee is 0.075. Whereas the other Solanas, this one's at 0.05 as the base, and it's currently at 0.07. And this is the highest one at 0.1 ETH Solana, and it's at 0.11 right now. But you can see like these would probably be getting pretty similar volume roughly if the fees were the same, but you know the one with the highest fee is getting by far the least amount of volume right now. So this is one that I'm experimenting with just to see like what fee is gonna get us the most volume and generate us the most fees. But yeah, so I'm like very actively checking those metrics. I mean, it's as much as I want to be fine tuning every day, it's like every time I make a change, I do have to give it some time to play out and kind of just see how we're doing versus the competitors. And actually, I guess I can show you guys something. So this is a site that I built to kind of check a lot of this stuff out. So like I can see, for example, like with fee changes, if we look at where's the USDT, USDC? So it's telling, so this is actually telling me to go further. So USDT, USDC, wait, I did a more recent one than that. Okay, the 23rd. Yeah, so this change I just made, what, 2 days ago. So most of these are telling me that I went too far with my fee change. So this one's telling me I actually need to go further because it's working so much better, right? So our volume share went from 35 to 61%. Our fees per hour before and after went up 3%. I think it's actually higher than that. But it's telling me that like the change that I made is working well. So, go further with it. And that was me dropping the base fee in half. But you can see that like a lot of the other changes that I've made, it's saying that I went too far. So yeah, so you can see that, this is analyzing not only the volume share before and after the fee change, but also the fees an hour before and after the fee change. So a lot of these, what I did is I actually changed the scaling of the dynamic fee to not scale as quickly because it was actually advising me that we were losing too much volume share as our fee was scaling up in volatility. But you can see that we're winning a lot more volume now with the gentler scaling, but that's also hurting our fees an hour. So a lot of these I probably will revert back to how they were because I mean this is great data to look at, and it's been what, like 9 days I think since I made a lot of these changes. So I probably will actually go back to the slightly more aggressive scaling on the fee on those. More important to get market share. Yep, 100%. We're still in the very early days here. Definitely very important to get market share and to have metrics to to support our our growth and to really yeah. Is AI able to support you in those metrics? Yeah, I mean, I use AI all day, every day. AI helps me analyze the stuff. AI built this tool. So yeah, definitely using AI as much as I possibly can to, be able to analyze this and make the most of it in a short period of time. All right, talked about that for a little longer than I was planning on, but let's move on. Let's now talk about the lock bonus. Lock bonus has been going great. So for those of you that aren't aware, our lock bonus started out as a 75% bonus on locking your topaz. As more and more topaz gets locked, the lock bonus is decreasing. It's now at 40%. So we have just 1.2 million topaz left to be locked at the 40% bonus. Once that 1.2 million is locked, the bonus tier is going to drop. I forget which one is next. If it's, I'm guessing it's probably 30% bonus it's dropping to. I haven't looked at that in a couple of weeks, but yeah, I mean, overall, there's 50 million topaz available to be utilized in locking bonuses. And yeah, the longer that you wait to do this, the less of a bonus you're going to be getting. So for example, like right now, if you lock 100,000 topaz, you're actually getting a lock of 140,000 topaz. And our bonus is unique in that you get it immediately, right? Like I don't have too much topaz in this wallet right now, but you can just see if I was going to lock 1,000 topaz, I actually get a lock right now for 1,400 VE topaz immediately. So great bonus we got set up here. It's getting really utilized quite well. 18.8 million has already been distributed in bonuses. So definitely you want to take advantage of this, as early as you can to get that high bonus in. Yo, what's up? All right, moving on. Our branding update, we updated our logo, we updated, we reskinned all of our websites. That's gone over extremely well. We've gotten great reception to that. I think the new design and unified look across all of our sites has been great. Really excited about it, and I hope you guys are all enjoying it as much as myself and the team are. We still have a lot more coming in terms of UI, UX. We're going to be integrating the AI agent into all of our dApps and all of our apps, and we're going to make that a really a really central part of our identity and what we are. We want that to be our differentiating factor, and that's something that I'm going to demonstrate again shortly. Is just some of the capabilities of our AI agent, and what's coming next for the AI agent. But we also have the reskin of our sites was just the very first step of our branding improvement, and our new logo, of course. But we're going to be reworking all of our sites from our, our main landing page to our dApp to all of our, sub-sites, and we're going to, unify the whole experience and just make it that much better for, well, actually, let me rewind a second. I think that, I've identified what we really need to get to the next level is we need more users, right? So how do we get from 1,000 users to 20,000 users? Well, what we need is we need to give off like a feel of confidence or professionalism. We need when somebody, we need to get new eyes on the protocol, but not. We need those eyes to not only just see the protocol, we want them to be interested in the protocol and want to participate in the protocol. So, the way that we get there is with a more professional looking site. And, we are actively working on that. And I think that the reskin was a great step in the right direction there. And we're going to keep pushing the boundaries in terms of our UI and front end and website to just, keep taking it to the next level. I've already seen an example of what, what the next iteration of the homepage is going to be looking like, and it's going to blow people away how it looks. We've got some amazing talent on board, and we're going to keep taking full advantage of the talent that we got on the team to push things to the next level. So a couple more updates. So we have something that's going to be announced after the AMA is we have a new weekly X Spaces that's going to be happening. I believe it's happening Tuesdays, but I may be wrong on that. Nick is going to be announcing that. And yeah, that's going to be a weekly X Space that's going to be hosted by Crypto Mischief and Peter are going to be hosting that, and I'm sure I'll be joining in some weeks. But yeah, that's really exciting. I'm looking forward to that. I know X Space is a great way to get attention to the protocol. So yeah, really excited for that. AI agent reskin and nod to the origin. Yeah. Let's go. What are your thoughts on the Rect token? I'm not familiar with that token. Awesome. Let's go. X Space sounds awesome. Yeah. Yeah, we've always had great turnouts to X Spaces and lots of participation, so I'm excited for that as well. Small update, a couple launch pads are going to be incorporating us in the near future, including a new launch pad, and some other existing launch pads are going to be integrating us. So soon you're going to be having fresh launches that are going to be deployed onto Topaz. I think that's another great angle for us to generate fees, is to have some of these newer hyped launches that, these are not coming in at like the ultra competitive pools where it's like 0.01% fees. These are typically at like 0.3% fees, where, these hyped launches, once they gain some traction, they can do huge amounts of volume, which is really great for fee generation and just overall protocol metrics. So really excited to get those launch pads on board and have them deploying their tokens after they graduate the bonding curve onto Topaz. So I think we'll see the first one of those probably in the next week or so. But I'd say we'll have a couple integrations within the next month, I'd guess. So another small update. Hello. Hey, Elliot, what's up? New Topaz design is fire. Let's go. Yeah, we got actually in Telegram we got new emojis too, and we got a sticker set made for our old logo, but it's going to get revamped to the new design. So looking forward to that too. Topaz ID, for those of you that aren't aware, Topaz ID is a way that you can log into Topaz with email, Google, or with your wallet. This is separate from like your traditional wallet connect options. So basically you can, this is like a smart contract based wallet. For those of you that are familiar with like Abstract and their Abstract global wallet, it's basically identical to that. So basically, I'll just log into this. This gives you a smart contract wallet that essentially can access everything that you can do with Topaz on any of our sites. We have the portal, which I'm still working on. It's basically id.topazdex.com. This is going to become like a pretty central part of the Topaz ecosystem. It's just going to allow for a lot easier onboarding of users, and there's a lot of really cool things that we can build into this, like point systems and social aspects, and we can aggregate apps, and anybody, like any of our partners that want to use our Topaz ID as a login option on their DApp, they can be included as an app in our directory of apps. So right now it's just a couple of our own apps, but this is something that I really want to expand on in the future. So you guys can expect this to be really a lot better built out in the future. It already has all the basic capabilities that you'd want access to, like you can swap tokens, it shows you charts of tokens, you can send tokens to other addresses, all of the basic functionality that you'd want in a wallet is all here. And there's developer information for how people or developers can build Topaz ID into their own BNB chain dApps. So looking forward to getting some other teams on board and offering Topaz ID as a login option. So yeah, Topaz ID is coming along great, and we're gonna have some really fun and exciting things built around Topaz ID in the near future. Let's talk a little bit about the Topaz token itself. So we did switch pools about a week, 2 weeks ago, I think, or a week ago. We're using the 2,000 tick spacing 1% fee pool now. We were using a 200 tick spacing pool with a lower fee before. This is just so that there was too many guys that were just like trying to farm this, like because we have high emissions on the Topaz pool, so just the super tight ranges that guys were getting into was making like it impossible for the token price to move. And then once it's like moved from one tick range to the next, like you just have a bunch of guys that were had to just either sell or buy a bunch of tokens to like rebalance their position. So it just made a lot more sense to go into a 2,000 tick spacing pool for Topaz. So we did switch that up recently. We also have two V2 full range pools that I highly recommend you guys get into. They pay really well. Let's actually go take a look at that. Over 70K in fees and 721 mil in volume. Looking great. So let's search Topaz here. So this is our new pool that I was just talking about. It's the 2,000 tick spacing pool. Huge APR on this. And then you have the two basic volatile pools. So actually that fee is, I got to update that. That's actually should be 0.3%. Should be multiplying that by 100, but I'll take care of that after. So these are actually getting some decent volume now too. But yeah, these are full range positions. You don't have to worry about rebalancing. You don't have to worry about anything. You just, you can jump into these and make over 300, make almost 1% a day off of these, basic volatile pools, which again is just a V2 style pool. And actually, there's an exciting way that you can get involved in these, and it has something to do with the alpha I'm going to talk about near the end of the AMA. But yeah, I highly recommend farming these. We've got, almost 15K TVL on each of these. And, I do want to put a higher, focus on the Topaz LPs into just the basic volatiles. I think it's great for price discovery, and I think it's just not having a ton of liquidity right at the exact current price. It's going to make the token price go where it needs to go a little bit easier. And again, that's another reason for the move to the 2,000 tick spacing as our primary concentrated liquidity pool on that. I'm ready to try the Topaz AI wallet. Nice. Yeah, actually, I'll tell you how you can access that. That is one of the releases that's going to be coming in the next couple of weeks, like as an official release, because there's some big improvements that we're going to be putting into that. But you can access and try that right now. So yeah, I mean, and in terms of the token price, it's obviously the market conditions haven't been the greatest lately, but even while we're in this early stage right now of really prioritizing volume over fee generation just to get that market share, we're still trading at, like, I think if you take last week's fees and you multiply that out to the year, it's like somewhere around $600,000 of fees a year. And that's obviously not a super huge number, but that's a number that, again, we're prioritizing market share and volume right now over fee generation. So it's any time now we're going to be able to have that fee generation, really get to the next level. And once that happens, everybody's going to notice that this token is like insanely undervalued. And even right now at our current fee generation, even in these market conditions with low volume market conditions, markets pulling back, these are like the least optimal market conditions we could have right now. We're still trading at like under 2 million fully diluted, which is like a 3x on our annual fees based on like the last week of fees. So that's a really low, a really low valuation for the token right now, especially consider all things considered. So right now is an amazing time to buy Topaz token, to lock it. There's going to be additional things that you're going to be able to do with your locked Topaz. I'm going to get into that shortly. And additionally, like those two pools I was just showing you guys, highly recommend getting into these. And there's a lot of, actually, a bunch of alpha I'm going to share right at the end of this AMA that is going to kind of elaborate on these things that I'm talking about right now. So maybe I'll just hold off until I get into that alpha. So next thing I want to talk about is the agent. So let me grab this question first. Would one require to fund Topaz ID wallet with additional tokens for gas, et cetera, to operate it since it's separate from one's existing wallet, Rabby, for example? Great question. So right now, Topaz is actually sponsoring all transactions on the wallet. So, I mean, you would need to transfer in funds to be able to like put funds to work doing something, but you actually wouldn't need gas. Like you wouldn't need BNB for gas. So in the future, we probably won't be sponsoring all transactions, but for the moment, we are. So let's jump into the AI agent. So I talked about this briefly already, but a lot of big plans for this. So this hasn't been officially released yet. Like there's no link to this on our website yet, but a lot of you guys know how to access this, and it's no secret. It's at ai.topazdex.com. We have major improvements coming to this in the next week or two, I'd say. It's already very capable, and I'm going to demonstrate that for you guys right now. But this right now, it's not keeping like a chat history of any sort. So like if you have a conversation, then you just go like new chat. It's almost like you're just talking to it for the first time. I mean, yeah, I can see what positions you have, but it's not remembering anything about like your preferences, like if you like, higher risk strategies or, anything personal that you told it. It's kind of not smart in that memory kind of sense yet. So that's one major thing that we're adding to it. And, we just want to unify this to be available across, across our sites, not just, not just at this AI wallet site. So a lot of big improvements and changes coming here. So what got a lot of people excited originally was, I put a prompt in here to, compound all of my positions, and it did that all in one shot. So, I mean, I'll do another quick demo for you guys here. Let's just go like zap 0.05 BNB into each of the top 5 highest paying CL pools with narrow range. Let's give that a shot. So for any of you guys that have used Topaz, you know that if you just start with BNB and you want to get into an LP and start farming with it, well, what do you have to do? Well, first you got to swap half of the BNB for the other token. Then you got to go make the LP. You got to set your range. You got to make the LP. Then you got to take that LP and you got to do an approval on the gauge, and then you got to deposit it to the gauge. All right, so that's like 5 or 6 steps for every single one. And you'd have to do the research to see what are the top 5 highest paying, right? So with just this short prompt I gave right here, you can see it already identified the 5 highest paying. Oops, sorry, my monitor is about. Oh, monitor is turning off. 1 second. So it identified the 5 highest paying opportunities, and it basically put together all the transactions that would be needed to basically perform this. And I do happen to be on the Topaz ID wallet, but this actually works for any wallet, like even EOA wallets. Earn made the cut. It certainly did. So let's jump into that. So I'll show you guys how this works. So essentially, this is not doing anything on your behalf. This is just like proposing a bunch of transactions for you. So and it's kind of telling you like there is a bunch of extra steps it has to take to make this work. But let's go ahead and simulate this. So you can see once I simulate this, 0.25 BNB is going to leave my wallet, which makes sense because I'm doing 5 times 0.05. And these are the tokens that are going to enter my wallet when this is done. So, but you can see here, there's 11 steps it has to take, right? Swap to pool ratio, open the position. So doing a bunch of swapping, and the CL mints is like it actually getting into the pool. So it's showing you like the exact amount it's going to go into the pool. And yeah, so it's doing all of this, and this is, it's actually simulating the transaction to show me that this is what the output's going to be. There's like 28 extra steps that it does that it just hides just because it'd be too much noise to look at. But these are like the setup steps, like the approvals that it has to do to make all this work. So, and because I've been talking for a while, the prices might have changed, so it's actually going to requote. So you can see it just requoted, and now the output looks roughly the same. But I can go ahead and accept this and approve it, and it's done. So you can see it executed, and this is the final output that happened, and this is almost identical to what it would have what it simulated before I submitted this. And if you look at the transaction, if BSC scan wants to load, so you can see 0.25 BNB left my wallet, and we had 27 token transfers, and we had 10 different NFT transfers, which would have been the 5 positions that it had to mint, and then taking those 5 positions and staking them in the gauges. So this is all 100% complete, and I now have those positions ready to go. So it looks like the BNB Topaz one, maybe it's something to do with the big tick spacing on it, but it didn't like, that's why I actually had quite a bit of Topaz come back to me afterwards, because it did not perfectly like center that, I guess. Maybe I have to look at the math that it's using to figure out the perfect range there. But yeah, you can see the other ones are all right around the same value. And yeah, so that's all done. So that's just one example of something that would have taken, I don't know, 20 or 30 minutes maybe to do the research on what are the highest paying pools, and then to actually, swap all the tokens to have the right tokens to make those LPs, and then to create the LP, to stake the LP into the gauge. I did that all with like 7 words into the AI agent. And I'll do the classic one that I did last time, compound all of my positions. Again, there's not much rewards right now, but let's just to show you guys how that works. So this is going to compound all 5 of my positions. And again, this is not a simple thing, right? This is something where we'll look at the transaction right after it's done. But it has to claim the Topaz rewards, swap the Topaz into both the tokens that it needs for the LP. It has to withdraw the LP from the gauge. It has to add the liquidity to the LP. Then it has to restake the LP in the gauge. And it just did that for 5 positions with just me giving it like 5 words, right? So let's take a look at that. So we had 46 token transfers this time. Oh, and by the way, Topaz is properly showing on BSC scan now. I'm sure some of you probably already noticed that. But again, there's very little rewards to collect. I just made these positions just 2 seconds ago. So I mean, that's basically $0 of Topaz everywhere. But you can see that it is showing properly in terms of the token icon and the dollar value. But yeah, so 46 token transfers, 10 NFT transfers. Oh, actually, there's something else I can show you guys. So I updated the NFT metadata to properly, or to better show positions, right? So let's take a look at this one, for example. So this is showing you now the contents of the position. It has our logo. It has, it shows your range. It shows where you currently are in the range. It shows the tick spacing. This is a huge improvement over how these looked before. So just another nice addition to the protocol there. So pretty happy with how that came out. I had to rebrand this because of the new logo, and I thought, okay, well, let's take this a bit further. Let's make it more useful. And I really like how Uniswap's NFT images look. So I was like, okay, let's make it a little bit more like that. And I think we did a great job with that. It's something that I can also change in the future. I mean, there's not much with the protocol that I can change, but one of the things that I do have access to change is like the art contract related to the concentrated liquidity positions. So that's something that I can update, which is handy. So yeah, I mean, this is extremely powerful, the AI tool, and we're going to make this even more powerful. Like right now, it can't yet lock Topaz for you. It can't yet vote for you. It can't yet like claim voting rewards. That's like the next major thing that we're going to build into it. And bribes, and there's a couple extra things in the protocol that we have to build in, and then it's going to be pretty full featured in terms of Topaz. Actually, one thing that I did build in is I did build in aggregation. So it can, it's like if it's just say I want to how much BNB do I have? 0.16. So let's just say I wanted to swap 0.15 BNB to, let's go for a token that we don't really have liquidity on, like Cake. I'm not going to swap this, but I'm just going to show you guys. So you can see here, it's actually checking Topaz concentrated liquidity, it's checking Topaz V2, and it's checking 0x aggregator. So you can see I'm getting the best output with 0x. So it's actually, oh, I had to press the order of that looks kind of weird, but you can see that it's actually checking my swap against aggregation as well. So you can even do a swap and be confident that you're getting a great output on any swap on BNB chain directly from the AI wallet here. So anybody that wants to play around with this, again, this works with not only Topaz ID, it works with any regular wallet. Yeah, you can play around with this at ai.topazdex.com, and this will be officially released and put on all of our websites within the next couple of weeks. It's got a few more features to add to it, but I know a lot of guys have already been playing around with this and having a lot of fun with it. So I'm definitely open to feedback. So let me know anyone that plays around with this. Let me know what you like about it, what's not working exactly how you'd like it to, and yeah, we'll definitely take that feedback and improve it. All right, so let's talk about some of the new releases. Well, this is one of them right here. So the UI looks good. Has anyone read the MEF AI report on Topaz? I had no idea they even made one. But anyways, so yeah, this is one of the new releases that is going to be coming out very soon, like officially. Like we haven't officially released this. I know I've talked about this on a couple AMAs. I put a couple teases out on X, but this will be an official part of the Topaz ecosystem very soon. So yeah, anyone that wants to play around with it can play around with it now at ai.topazdex.com. The next release that I'm going to show you guys is one that you unfortunately are not going to be able to play around with until I do officially release it, but I will show it to you right now. And this is one that I have shown before or talked about it before, but our relay system is going to be released within the next couple weeks. Now, this is something where it basically lets you lock your Topaz tokens for VE Topaz, or if you already have VE Topaz, if you don't want to manage like voting every week and then collecting your rewards and having to manage that yourself. This is a simple way where you can take your VE Topaz positions and you can just put them into a relay, and the relay will optimize voting and basically vote on your behalf. And we're going to launch with two different options that you can see here. So we have the Topaz Maxi. This is one that is going to have supplemented rewards. Basically, the purpose of this main relay is going to be to just maximize how much VE Topaz you have, right? So essentially what's going to happen is you're going to deposit a lock. So I have one that's deposited with like 259,000 VE Topaz. So I've earned, I'm just testing this out basically. I mean, I already know that this works. I've already built this kind of stuff for another protocol before, but essentially I put $20,000 of just reward, or 20,000 Topaz worth of rewards into this. So I've gained 20,000 VE Topaz in this relay just when the epoch just flipped. So basically the purpose of this one is just to grow your position as big as possible and without having to actively manage it. So you just basically deposit your VE Topaz position in here and it will vote on your behalf and just accumulate rewards. And all the rewards that it gets, it automatically swaps to Topaz and locks that Topaz. So this puts buy pressure on Topaz. It's very bullish for Topaz, and for anyone that believes in Topaz long term, which I'm sure a lot of you do. That's why you're here watching this AMA. This is a great way to build up your VE Topaz position. And then we got another really cool one. So it's called Topaz Compound plus USDT. So the way that this one works, you guys can kind of see there. Actually, no, you can't because my face is in the way. Let me make my screen smaller so you can see that. Maybe I'll just take myself off. Okay, well, anyways, I'm not sure how to show you guys this. My face is in the way without changing the layout. Anyways, so you can't really see it right now, but actually, let me see if I can move myself over to the side. Haven't played around with this layout in quite a while. All right, I give up. Anyways, there's something here that just shows how much USDT is claimable. What this relay does is any Topaz that it receives, it's so basically, again, just like the other relay, it's going to vote on your behalf optimally. And any Topaz that it receives in, it's going to automatically compound that Topaz into more VE Topaz. So this relay will never sell Topaz, right? So all the Topaz that it receives from its votes, it uses to get more VE Topaz, which you can't really see there, but I've got 20,000 extra VE Topaz that I've earned on this relay. And then every token that it receives that's not Topaz, it's going to swap to USDT, and that's going to be claimable to you, right? So this is a great way to just set it and forget it, to basically not cause any sell pressure on Topaz, to keep building your VE Topaz position, but still get paid out in USDT to do whatever you want with that, and you get that on a weekly basis. And it's not something that you have to claim every week. If you don't claim it, it's just gonna keep building up for you. So it's a really great way to just jump into the ecosystem, buy Topaz, get VE Topaz, deposit it here, and just, you can keep growing that position, compounding it, and get a USDT paycheck every week from that. So both great options. Just really depends on if you want to build your Topaz as much as possible, or if you want to build your Topaz and also get paid out in USDT on a weekly basis. So voting and relay with the same locks. No, the relay votes on your behalf, right? So it's like either you vote manually yourself and you manage like picking what you want to vote on and claiming your rewards and doing whatever you want with your rewards, or alternatively, you deposit your lock in the relay and the relay does all of that for you, right? So the relay will vote on your behalf, it'll claim rewards on your behalf. It does this as a unit, right? So that's basically what the relay does. So it's like instead of voting, you would deposit to the relay and you get a lot of the same benefits just without having to manage it yourself. So super bullish. Can't wait to release this. We'll officially release this again sometime in the next 2 weeks. I just want to make sure that we have the right hype and the right conditions around these major releases that we have. So, but that's a nice sneak peek of that for you guys. So the first, so I said I had 3 items for you guys. The first one was the AI agent, which again I've already kind of showed you guys in the past. This will be officially released soon. Number 2 is the relays. This will also be released soon. And number 3 is one that you guys can actually access right now. I'm going to share this with you. It's something that it's fully finished. It's fully built. I'm still tweaking and tuning some of the parameters on it, but basically what we have here is Topaz vaults, auto compounding vaults to automatically manage positions for you. So in terms of, we have concentrated liquidity positions here, and we have a couple V2 like basic volatile full range positions. And what this does for you essentially is it does a lot of things for the users. It does a lot of things for the protocol. Let's talk about for the users first. So what does it do for the users? For anyone that's intimidated by concentrated liquidity, maybe you don't understand fully how it works. What you can do with this is you can just basically zap into a position and it's going to automatically manage the range of your position. And it's going to manage like claiming rewards, and it's just going to build up your position. So for example, like if you're bullish on like Solana and BNB, you could jump into the Solana BNB vault, and it's basically going to automatically take care of managing the position for you. It's going to compound the rewards in. it's going to basically put it on cruise control for you, where you don't have to understand how concentrated liquidity works. I mean, you should probably still have a little bit of an understanding of it, but yeah, it's basically just a great way to get exposure to whatever assets you like and have it be, just on cruise control. So again, with this, you don't have to manage ranges. You don't have to manage, collecting rewards and compounding it. It does all that for you. So it's, just again, a really great way for, no matter if you are very experienced in concentrated liquidity or you're brand new to it, it's just a really great way to be able to jump in and just not have to worry about it. Just kind of set it and forget it. So, and this is for anyone that wants to play around with this and give me feedback on this. I'd love to get some feedback on it. Again, this will be officially released over the next couple of weeks. We're just planning that out with the team. But again, sneak peek for everyone that's on the AMA now that stayed to the end. I appreciate you guys that stayed to the end of the AMA. It's vaults.topazdex.com is how you can access this right now. And again, so it's mostly concentrated liquidity positions. There is 2 basic volatile full range positions that you can get into, and that is our 2 Topaz positions. And this is something that I kind of hinted at earlier in the AMA. So we got the BNB Topaz V2 position and the USDT Topaz BNB, or USDT Topaz V2 position. So these are, paying, again, on the website, on our main DApp, it's showing 325% APR and 314% APR, but when you factor in that these get compounded regularly, the APY is actually quite a bit higher. So this is going to be super bullish for getting, getting buy pressure on Topaz, and this is a great way. If you're like me and feel that Topaz is undervalued right now, this is an amazing way to get involved in Topaz and just kind of have it on cruise control to just, have your Topaz rewards compound back in to keep growing the position. And as Topaz appreciates in value, your LPs will naturally become worth more. And those rewards that it's earning are going to become worth more and more. So it's just super beneficial for the protocol and for users, this whole vault system. So, and I mean, so I didn't talk yet about what the advantages are for the protocol. For the protocol, this allows, right now, we have a lot of really experienced concentrated liquidity users that are providing a lot of the liquidity in a lot of our core pairs. This takes some of that. This requires a lot less experience to use, right? Like anybody that has any of these assets can jump right into these vaults, and it's maintaining medium range positions, like not super wide, not crazy narrow. Positions. So it's basically optimizing, and it's going to allow Topaz to attract more efficient capital to the pools where we need capital. So it's overall it's really beneficial to the protocol, and it's great for users. So can't wait to fully release this. And there's extremely thorough docs as well. The docs talk about a lot more than just how our vaults work. It actually has a lot of just general information. And it also, it also goes into great detail about the actual strategies of the vaults, like how does the concentrated liquidity vault keep the position in range, right? It talks about that in detail, and the risks, and there's also ways that you can integrate this in your own stuff. So that it talks about everything there. So definitely give this a read if you want to get involved in the vaults. And again, this will be officially released in the next week or 2. Relay looks great. I'm already maxing my lock, so Relay can do that for me. Yep, 100%. Will you build in the 1 token VFAT Zap feature? So it already has that. So it doesn't. Well, I can build in the ability to kind of zap in with any token. Like right now, you can zap in with any of the tokens that are part of the LP, right? But yeah, I know what you mean though. Like with VFAT, you can zap in with any token that you have. I'll consider adding that in. Like right now, it's a bit more basic. It's just you can zap in with whatever token is part of the LP itself, or if it's a BNB one, you can zap in with BNB or wrap BNB. So, are rewards from vaults manually claimable, or are they automatically compounded? Yeah, it's an auto compounding vault, so the rewards are compounded into building up your position. How is one able to pocket whatever amount of available profits from the vaults? Well, that's the whole purpose of the vault, is it auto compounds, right? It's on cruise control, so it grows the size of your positions, right? So if you want to take your Topaz from your positions and lock it, the vaults wouldn't be for you, right? You'd want to just do it manually in that case. So this will auto sell the Topaz rewards and use it to build the positions up. But again, like this also gets the protocol liquidity where it really needs the liquidity, which is going to help our volume and our fee generation. So overall, this is beneficial to the protocol. And a lot of guys are using VFAT, or they're doing the same things anyways. Like liquidity providers often need to sell some of their rewards just to compensate for losses they take by being a liquidity provider, right? Like impermanent loss and having to rebalance and things of that nature. So this is just keeping it under our roof where we can basically set the parameters that we think are ideal. And yeah, also look great too. Mega bullish on Topaz Dex. Yeah, well, and everything that we have, we'll keep improving. Keep improving the UI and the UX around this stuff, and make it all integral. We'll build this into the AI agent so that you're going to be able to access the vault just by talking to the AI agent. We're still figuring out exactly how we want to integrate the AI into all the different aspects of Topaz. Like, we want it to really be something that's front and center, and more than just like a little button in the corner like a chat bot. Like I want it to be integrated a little bit more in depth than that. So me and the team are still figuring that out exactly, but I'm sure that we will nail that. And yeah, looking forward to getting all these updates out to you guys, and and having AI be a deeper and deeper integral part of Topaz Dex. So I think that's pretty much what I got for you guys for today. Anybody have any questions about any of the stuff coming up or anything that we've discussed, or really any questions in general? What's up, fam? What have I missed? Missed a lot, man. About an hour in now, but yeah, definitely watch it back. We had a lot of alpha dropped. Are there any plans to recover existing projects like Blue? I mean, I don't know if Blue needs recovering. It's the markets are down. It's my focus is on Topaz. Topaz is a forever project that generates real value, and this is where I'm going to spend most of my energy. So I think other projects, they have, they can shine when the markets are looking better. I mean, we already have G Blue is an incentivized pool on Topaz. There's, I think it pays quite well actually. Let's take a look at that. I'm on localhost there, that's why. Yeah, I mean, Blue's got a 661% gauge right now, so not sure what more I can do for it than that. It's you can earn amazing return just by farming the token. So that's what we've done for it in the past. That allowed it to hit $25 a token, was give it a good place to farm it. So it's still got that right now. A lot of bullish things coming up. See y'all at the moon. Yep. I mean, we got a lot more work to put in, but appreciate everyone here that's here supporting even in these market conditions. We got 213 people watching the live stream right now, so that's pretty incredible considering that the markets aren't looking great. So awesome stuff. Better late than never. Nope, depth is on the wrong chain, sir. That's been addressed a couple times in the past, but yeah, that's not a token that makes sense to move cross chain. So, but any other questions before I conclude for the day? All right, guys. Well, thanks everyone for joining in. I see you guys next week. And, like I said, we have those 3 big releases, the AI wallet or the AI integration, as well as the vaults and the relays. Those will all be officially released and officially part of the ecosystem over the next, couple weeks. So definitely looking forward to get those out to you guys, and I'll see you guys all around the community. And again, thanks everyone for supporting. I know, again, I keep mentioning that the markets aren't looking great right now. I try not to focus on, what we can't control. So we're just going to keep building, and we're going to keep, making Topaz as beneficial for our users as possible. And, we got a great team together. We got a great community, got a great user base, and, we're going to keep doing everything that we have to do to make sure that Topaz is the best investment that you've ever made, and something that's very worth participating in, no matter what the market conditions are doing. So We'll watch from the start, but you already know I'm Topaz maxing. 100%, brother. Topaz bullish. Lots of great stuff. Thanks, Aaron. Topaz bullish. Let's go. All right, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys around the community. And see you guys next week. Thanks. Great alpha. You bet. Great AMA, boss. Keep building. Oh, you know it, man. Always building. All right, guys. Take care.